perpetuate a collective life experiences. The way in which education is put upon not just African people, but all people, its purpose is to control and to contain in a box. And if you ever step out that box, you will then see a world that is outside the box.
As my pen inks, my mind speaks divine bloodlines, abstract concepts, metaphors, and simplistic sublimes. My delivery's okay, but my writing's another time. Zone of its own like honeycombs and armies inside of my mind. I think it right to kick it, then go and hide in the furrows and the jungles of Jamal's hidden eye. Caught you staring, maybe glaring, still I will not comply with the status quo. Is freedom, bro, that I hold on high. Hip-hop, holy scripture writers always collide with the masses who wear glasses blocking vision inside. If upper classes with the passes mean that I'm verified, conversely would a failure guarantee that I'm vilified? Choose to reside, yes I, that's right, Jamal outside county lines. For the city limits, games that give me cluttering time. As fast as camera flashes, yes I read the symbols and signs. The birds and the vines, the bees and trees, they all intertwine. I live outside the box where my system knocks something abstract. Let my mind think before my eye blinks. Watch my dirty soul, don't let it sink. I stand naked as me. I live outside the box where my system knocks something abstract. Let my mind think before my eye blinks. Watch my dirty soul, don't let it sink. I stand naked as me. You sit with your hands on fit the mitt, your arm too long for the outfit, and you come with no permission to certify that you're legit. Face the perils of the pits and the fists of pessimists who suggest that you should quit. Get a job and shovel shit, buy some dope and try to pitch. You got the fever for the flavor, but the flavor leaves an itch. And until you scratch the bitch, as a slave you be his pick. Now take a step into this ditch that you dug. Can you dig? We're adults, no longer kids. For mistake, just consequence and hesitance. Cleanse the lens that's been sold by foes and friends, lovers, teachers, preachers, kin. Like piston in the wind if you don't start over again and change your thinking. This lesson is about your perception. Your mind is the ultimate weapon. False reality's the ultimate deception. 1, 2, mic check it, we wreck it any given second. I live outside the box where my system knocks something abstract. Let my mind think before my eye blinks. Watch my dirty soul, don't let it sink. I stand naked as me. I live outside the box where my system knocks something abstract. Let my mind think before my eye blinks. Watch my dirty soul, don't let it sink. I stand naked as me. Verse 3, in the midst of this reality, refuse to be a casualty. So casually my mind patrols a galaxy where atoms be colliding with themselves and splitting constantly. Explosion and destruction is the birth of creativity. I'm crazy, see, maybe what you think of me. Well, I agree, it takes a little lunacy to see outside the fantasy. Imagine we remove the canopies, caps and coverings, exposing the true piano keys and play these melodies. The people would be pissing, levy penalties on enemies, and government officials would be running for the hills and flee the tyranny that you inflict with flip car reciprocity. You follow me? Hands up in the air and raise them hurriedly, ferociously. Emotions be the captain soul, so let them sink or her. No blur, vision 2020 peak, planet surfing, megahertz and frequencies. You feeling me? 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 Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check. Peace to the world. We're back again for a live discussion. I said the last time I went live that I would be back, holding to my word. And we're going to talk about some of the current events, some things happening that might be worth knowing about. Some very interesting things in the world. Let's see. I'm trying to give a minute here to let people get notified. See if we're going to get some of the regulars in the building. I know it's late on a Saturday night, but I'm hoping at least a couple of my normal people get in here soon, get notified, because I know they're going to want to hear this. At least I think so. I think they're going to want to check this out. So send out those Share the stream to those of you, of your comrades who have minds that are functional. And we're going to get into a lot of things. Today's date is October 11th, 2025. I'm waiting for some folk I want to know, can I be heard? That's why I'm waiting on at least one of my moderators, see if they'll get in here. We're going to give it a minute. Because right now, I don't want to start bumping my gums and then rock easy. What's happening? All right, I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, good. All right. Okay, so my sound is straight. All right. There's a lot to talk about, and I don't know where I want to begin. There's a lot to talk about. I'm trying to give them just a couple more minutes, see if we can at least get our first 10 in here. But we ain't going to wait too long because it's already late. We're going to give them a chance. Peace, harmony, and home. We're going to give them a chance just to start coming in. Before we jump into this discussion. I don't know if the thumbnail, I didn't put the thumbnail up for this. And I think, let me fix that. Let me fix that thumbnail. Y'all bear with me. We're going to get this thing. We're going to get this thing rolling here. Let me adjust something. We're going to get the thumbnail. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to go back to this. Yeah. Hope all is well with y'all. Y'all just bear with me. Where's that thumbnail? Where is it at? Now I can't find it. There we go. The rise of digital Jesus. That's our topic for this evening. The rise of digital Jesus. Oh boy. Oh me, oh my. We have a lot to talk about this evening. Hit the like button on your way in. Okay. So, how did this topic come about? Can y'all still hear me? Give me a 1 if y'all can still hear me. Make sure, because last time I had issues with some technical issues. Y'all can still hear me. Just give me a 1, somebody. And then we're going to get rolling. Rocky said 1, 1, 1. Let's go. All right. I appreciate it. All right. So here we go. Tomorrow is an interesting occasion. Tomorrow, October 12th, 2025, will be the first annual Catholic feast day for a newly sainted individual named Carlo Acutis. Now, I don't know if any of you are familiar with this character, Carlo Acutis. He was born May 3rd, 1991 in London, and he was the eldest of Italian parents. This is from Wikipedia. Andrea Acutis and Antonia Salzano.
Now, this kid, according to the story, was a big proponent of the Eucharist. So they were Catholic, or they are Catholic, the family. And so the Eucharist is another term for what we call in like the Protestant church, they would call baptism, or not baptism, communion. Okay. So he really was an advocate for the Eucharist. And it says that he created a website documenting Eucharistic miracles and Marian apparitions. All right. So I think this kid had like leukemia, and he passed on October 11th, 2006. Today's date, October 11th, 2025. 19 years after his death. So that means this puts us in the same nodal axis that we had at that time. Nodal axis, because in 2006, the North Node was in Pisces. That September, we had the same, was it the full moon eclipse that we had this past September? We had the same one, part of the same cycle. So he passes on October 11th, 2006. And then here we are 19 years later, when the nodes are in the same axis, North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo, that he is sainted, if you will. Now, I want you to pay attention to how these dates line up. He is born May 3rd, right? 1991, but he passes on October 11th, 2006. We had the big fiasco last month, was that a character named Charlie Kirk met his demise on September 10th, 2025. And he was born October 14th, 1993. So here's a correlation between this kid's death, which was October 11th, and this other guy's birth, October 14th. So there's some type of resurrection type of theme going here. And it just so happens that they are 3 days apart. Now, if you follow the whole Christian saga, right, that the death, burial, and resurrection, it's always referenced around the number 3. And here Charlie Kirk is 3 days after the birth of Carlo Acutis. Carlo is another variation of the word or the name Charles. So there's another coincidental detail, if you will. Now, Charlie Kirk meets his demise on September 10th. Well, here again, we have another 3-day differentiation, because 3 days prior, on September 7th of 2025, Carlo Acutis is canonized, meaning it has been decided that he will be exalted to sainthood. And so it's funny how these dates seem to overlap. He dies on the 11th of October. Then the other character, Kirk, and I did the other video on the curious case of Captain Kirk. And we know that Kirk means church. Kirk means circle. And here we have a definite association with the primary church, the universal church, they call it, the Catholic Church, the church behind all the churches. So you got October 11th, October 14th. Then you have the day of his canonization, September 7th, and there's another 3-day marker here because 3 days later, Charlie Kirk meets his demise. And this got I just recently learned about Carlo Acutis. I didn't even know he existed. I'm going to tell you what's interesting about that name. Acutis means sharp because it's acute, sharp, pointed edge. Now, when we think of sharp, pointed edges, we think about astrologically Mars, Aries, because Mars rules over sharp-edged instruments or weapons, knives, swords, bullets, things that pierce. And Charlie Kirk met his demise in a very Martian way, as it appears, through a projectile, a bullet, which is Martian. When the projectile is released, there is no turning back. Aries energy is no second guessing. It's just go, right? So it's just interesting how these things seem to overlap. Now, his feast day falls on 10/12. Now let's look at all the things that's going on in our world. We're in the midst of a government shutdown. Normally, there's this gamemanship around these shutdowns, and they come out last minute. They stayed in session until the wee hours of the morning. They hammered out a deal to keep the government going. But this thing, it's shut down. Shut down so much that they're saying, okay, Peace Sage, shut down so much that they're saying there have been layoffs, right? Not just in Washington, but around the country of government employees in certain sectors. Now, so there's a lull period. The saga of the whole death, burial, and resurrection has a lot to do with the solstices because the sun pauses, it appears, for 3 days at each solstice point. And after those 3 days, it starts to move in the opposite direction. In one instance, it has been rising, then it stops, and then it starts to fall, i.e. fall. When it gets to the other solstice, it has been falling, it stops, and then it starts to rise, which is the ascendant, which is spring, the springing or the ascension. So here we have collectively, it is like the U.S. face that has been attached to this landmass is in a solstice-like period of everything's frozen, everything's in stasis. In the midst of this, we get news that Walmart has frozen all hiring, and here's that number 3 again, for 3 years. It's like this don't seem like happenstance. 3 years. And it says this 3-year period is for them to integrate some new AI system into their business model. Very interesting. Very interesting. Now, going back to Carlo Acutis, his moniker that has been given to him is the patron saint of the internet. because when he transitions, he's 15 years old. So he's supposed to be the vanguard of the faith being promoted and propagated through the internet, which includes social media, digital media. Now we're putting the pieces slowly together here, because we're laying out the framework. And then just here in the midst of all this, it just so happens that his feast will be held right here in the midst of all this energy on October 12th. Now, what else did I want to touch on as far as groundwork, foundational stuff? We looked at their birthdays, that connection with those 3 days. Now, I want to jump here, because what I did was, because we're dealing with a collective energy here. Although we have individual journeys, we're looking at a collective event that is impacting each of our individual paths. So I looked at the progressed chart for the Union States, or the United States, and I progressed the Sibley chart. Now, everybody knows the Sibley chart is maybe the most agreed upon chart for the U.S. Now, there are other charts that astrologers argue should be considered, or should be the ones we use. But the Sibley chart goes with 5:10 p.m. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, July 4th, 1776. So what I did is I progressed the U.S. chart. For those of you who may not know what that means, to progress a chart is basically by secondary progressions. Secondary progressions would be you move the chart by taking every day being given a value of a year. So the normal movement of a heavenly body in a day would then become a year. So that means, whereas the moon would take roughly 2.5 days to make a transit through 30 degrees, in the progressed chart, it would be 2.5 years. Whereas a sun would be 30 days to transit 30 degrees, it would be 30 years for the progressed sun, secondary progressed sun. So when I looked at the progressed U.S. Sibley chart, which has Sagittarius rise, let's not forget too that what else are we talking about right now? 3i Atlas. You got 3. So here we see how we live in a world of polarities. In our world, we're normally walking around with our head down, right? Everybody's in the phone, scrolling. I mean, people cross the street, going through a parking lot where traffic's going back and forth with their head down, looking at the phone. Well, now 3i Atlas has us doing this. The complete opposite. We're looking up, right? And possibly there's something going on right in front of our eyes that is very casually, what appears to be casually going on, but it's possibly some very serious things. Not possibly, they are. There are some very serious things unfolding. So I looked at the progressed U.S. Sibley chart, Sag rising in the U.S. natal chart, and I relocated the chart to Washington, D.C. And then the progressed chart, the sun is at 20 degrees of Pisces, The progressed moon is at 12 degrees of Aries. I even looked at the progressed Mercury, 23 of Aquarius. Progressed Venus is at 6 of Taurus. But what I want to really focus on is wait a minute. Progress US Sibley. I'm looking at my notes trying to figure out. I'm confusing myself looking at my notes because I got US Sibley progress. Oh, that's the natal positions. Okay. When I looked at the progressed sun for the US chart, it's at 20 degrees of Pisces. It is in a T square to the US natal Mars, 21 of Gemini in the 7th. Neptune, 22 of Virgo in the 9th, which means when you have a T square, then the conflict between those three positions will release in the unoccupied area. And that unoccupied area for the US chart is Sagittarius. And what's our first house? We give it the simple tag of identity. So there's something unfolding in the US identity. When I looked at the progressed moon for the US, it is at 12 of Aries in the 4th, and it too is in a T square with the US natal sun at 13 of Cancer and Saturn at 14 of Libra. And it too, that T square releases in the first house. Whenever the moon is in a hard aspect to Saturn, there are doubts. There's a lot of doubt. So we could say that possibly there is a lot of doubt around the future for the United States. Internally, there is angst. There is an impatience. The progressed sun is in opposition to Neptune, which means the direction is not clear. It's not clear. Okay. Harmony said that's tied to religion. Yeah, that's Sun in Pisces and in that opposition to Neptune. But what I find is interesting that both of the aspects involving the progressed sun and the progressed moon both release in the first house, which means there's something going on with the identity of the US, something big. There's a change. And so here we are in this big solstice type of energy where things are like they're frozen. Now, there are things going on with people who are in upper management in different corporations who are getting little clues that something's changing. There's major corporations being that the shift is going on where they've been bought out, and now the merging is going on, and now people are trying to figure out what's my new identity in this company. There are meetings being held, right? So at the highest level in these particular corporations, they're already aware. Thing is, we're not necessarily made aware, right? The people are always, so-called common people are always the last to know. Peace, God, science. So what we're trying to do is use the tools that we have to get a bead on the timeline that we're in. Now, remember, all this stuff I'm talking about, in my humble opinion, is all tied together. Now, tomorrow, on the day that the Catholic Church will venerate Carlo Acutis, there is a event going on in Atlanta or Atlantis, Atlanta, Georgia. And it's being put on. Shout out to one of my scholastic comrades, Tiffany, who told me about this today, that there's a pastor, you may have heard of him in Atlanta, that goes by the name of Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell. And he is the lead pastor of a church called 2819. Now, tomorrow, they are having a big event, October 12th, called Access. And Access is supposed to be like this prayer gathering where they're looking to draw people to the faith, draw the wayward, lost sheep back to Jesus. Now, I didn't look deep enough to find this, but according to Tiffany, from what she's come across, he said his goal is to open a portal. Let me tell you about this guy. Peace, Akana. This guy, I feel like he's a serious occultist. He's a serious occultist. Okay. And he knows what he's doing. And that which he condemns, he is definitely working with. He's tapped in. Now, this event they're having, listen to one. Now, I heard this himself. I heard this quote from him. He says, he started with 12 people in a house. Now, just listen. Just think how y'all's minds function. And what you know, how many houses are there in the zodiac? 12. He says he started with 12 people in a house. He is thumbing his nose at his Christian followers who don't have a clue that he's putting it right in their face. He's very much aware of astrology. He's very much using it. He's aware of magic. He's working low-level magic. He says, I started with 12 people in a house. And God told me this, and God told me that. My eyes are, I think it's time to take my contacts. Let me see. Peace, Tony. Tony said Kirk Memorial was at Cardinals Arena. Oh, wow. Wow. Cardinal. And you know, cardinal means doorway, right? And the root card is also where it refers to the heart. So there's another one. Opening up, man. I appreciate. So see, everybody chiming in with little, and we're getting this whole kind of thing. We're kind of piecing together what from the peripheral. We're kind of getting the idea of what's going on here. Right? Ignorant energy can be galvanized and used as just raw, just like it's just like drilling oil. You need crude oil, and then the scientists and the engineers know how, and the chemists know how to refine it, to utilize it to fuel whatever they need to do with it. So ignorant people are just like crude oil, just giving up. So tomorrow at this, he's having this Pastor Mitchell is having his gathering at State Farm Arena, which holds about 20,000 people. Now, State Farm, I want you to think about the logo for State Farm. Very occult logo. 3 circles. Okay. And what he is saying that his church is founded on is Matthew 28:19. So that's supposed to be why it's 28:19. So let me go and read what it says in 28:19. It says, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost." So there's the Christian Trinity, right? There's the 3 again. 3 is a powerful number because it takes polarity and extracts the potential from it, which is the third piece, which is the Christ energy. What comes, it is the same model that's used for the Hegelian dialectic: problem, reaction, solution. Okay. So he's strategically gone into this arena at this time, which is already has been set under Christendom with the naming rights that sits on that arena right now, State Farm. And listen, State Farm, where you have animals. We're talking about animal husbandry. We're talking about chattel. We're talking about sheep, animals, low vibration, low consciousness, who are state property. And they're going to usher in to a event that is called access. So I looked at this word access. And access, what did I write that down? Access, from etymologically from the root family sed, where we get the word sediment. Also walk, go. That's what it means. Walk, go. Now just think back on 4/18, we had that movie Sinners that came out. And I did the video breaking down how the Hebrew letter het, when you spell it out, has a value of 4/18, which is the day that it was released, and how that coincided with sin. Okay. And what was for parasitic vampiric energy to have access, there has to be a breakdown in the natural defenses. There has to be an allowance, right? So when these people go in, they are giving up their energy, and they're giving him and the handlers who are behind him access. You understand? Access. Now, it just so happens that yesterday a movie came out called Tron Ares. That's why I got those pictures on this thumbnail, because the guy on the far right is the main character, who goes by the name in the movie Master Control. Master Control. How do we get master control? First, by having access. Because if someone gains access to your inner temple, they steer and direct you. What's my man? Philip Mitchell? Serious occultist. Make no bones about it. He's talking about bringing people to discipleship. And the word teach, Methuas, pupil, teacher. So that's Gemini. The disciple, Gemini. The teacher is Sagittarius. So he takes on the role of Sagittarius, and he brings them in as the disciples, Gemini. And I remember I talked about in the U.S. Sibley chart, there's a progressed aspect between the progressed sun at 20 of Pisces with the natal Mars at 21, a Gemini, and Neptune at 22 of Virgo, and it releases in Sagittarius. Okay. I hope I'm making sense. That's Tiffany. Said 3. Yeah, the Daki book. I had to bring you have to break that down again. But the so here's the next piece to all this. Like I said, yesterday Tron Aries came out. I went and saw it today with my family. Okay. And the main theme is, if y'all are old enough, you remember when we were kids, Peace, Black Butterfly. When we were kids, we watched Tron. That's when Tron came out in the 80s. And it was like, this was crazy. Like, well, they had the grids and they were inside of the game, and they were Peace, Lisa. They were riding on the little cool motorcycles. And I don't even remember all the I got to watch the movie again, to be honest. But so this one, so if you're one of them people who get upset if somebody give you details about a movie, you might want to click off. And let me say this, those of you who lock in with what I do over here on this channel, I hope you're at a point where you're not going to the movies to be entertained. I hope so. I encourage you. You're a high scientist. You should be beyond going for entertainment. This is what I went to the movies with. I went to the movies with this. And I took my phone and I would light it up when something came, when I needed to scribble something down in this pad. You should not be going for these people to entertain you. So you shouldn't even care about me giving you these details, right? Forget about the cinematography and all that other bullshit. Let's get down to, because this is where you got to go to kind of figure out what's happening. Because the contract that said parties may have is that they got to tell it. But they're not obligated to tell us in a way that we're going to accept it. Their contract just say they got to tell you what time it is. Now, if we don't have the sense to know where to look, if we don't have the sense enough to go and get a role-playing book or a comic book or mythology and use that to piece together with all our other stuff, then that's on us. They are only obligated to tell, but they ain't got to tell it in the way that you're going to accept it. So you go to the movies like, I'm not a big movie going person. I didn't even see the movie Sinners. I just looked at, I said 4:18, and I said, I already know what time. But this one, I said, I got to go see this one. Okay, so let me see where I want to get into this. So what they've done is they've created the Hegelian dialectic, meaning you got to have an antagonist and a protagonist. Protagonist will be Eve Kim. She has survived her sister. Her sister died of some type of blastoma, some type of cancer, and she's alive. And she goes into this icy cove in Alaska and finds this kind of off-grid workstation and finds a floppy disk, alluding back to the 80s. And the floppy disk has this information on it. Because what happened is Encode and Dillinger Systems are fighting. They are the two gaming companies, and they're fighting to find the permanent code. Or what did they call that? What's it called? The permanence code. Because what they've been able to do is go inside of the matrix and create creatures or so-called life, but nobody's able to sustain it for more than 29 minutes. And to listen to they're giving all types of clues. 29 minutes. In astrology, what is significant about 29? That's called a critical degree, because at 29, things change. Rapid change. So you scientists out there, we already got us a clue. Maybe we need to keep our eyes locked for when Uranus hits 29 of Taurus. And you got to think 29 of Taurus, right? And you got to think about what we found when in the progressed Sibley chart, that the progressed sun, progressed moon are in T-squares, and those T-squares are pointing back at the identity of this thing that we are under. I'm thinking something's coming, some change. It may literally be that the so-called POTUS may change, but it's I think it's multifaceted. But either way, 29 already, they're giving us a clue. Pay attention to 29. Maybe it might involve 29 with Neptune when Neptune hits 29 of Pisces again, right? So we got two major planets that have to roll back to 29 of their previous sign before they make their final re-ingress into the next sign. That's a clue for us to pay attention. So the character they've created, so Dillinger is taking the role of the bad guy. He's the evil, maniacal genius who wants to conquer the world, and he wants to sell weapons to all these different countries and this and that. And Eve Kim is the noble one who wants to take this AI, but she has these noble aspirations, right? So what happens is she finds the permanence code that is left behind from the guy Flynn, last name Flynn. He's the guy who was from, I can't remember the actor who plays him, but he was the guy from who played in the 80s. So supposedly he has died, and he is living inside of a world within the Matrix. It's a lot of play on the actual Matrix too, because the main character, Jared Leto, he looks like Keanu Reeves, which is something else I'm coming to that. I'm getting ahead of myself. So Jared Leto's character is Master Control. He is the main AI soldier that Dillinger keeps recreating, sending him out trying to find this permanence code. And so he keeps, they call it, what do they call it when they get to 29 and they dissipate? They call it de-resolution. So he just particleizes if at 29, and that's what they're searching for, because if they can get this thing to last more than 29, then he can actually sell the weapons to all these maniacal leaders of these countries, right? So when she goes into Alaska, Flynn through the sister who had passed away. I can't remember her name. Had left the code, and they found it. And now here's another clue you got to pay attention to. The way that they tested the code was she went out and created an orange tree, a tree that grows oranges in Alaska. And they put the clock on it, and the thing got to 29 minutes and it didn't de-resolve. It stayed together. And when it got to 30, they was like, oh my God, we found it. This is the permanence code. And so they get on a jet and they fly off, and they're all excited. They look up on the jet 4 hours in, and the thing still hasn't particleized. It's still holding. Now, this is where you got to stop. That's why you take your notebook and you don't go and be mesmerized by the entertainment. Is that a clue by them planting an orange tree? What do we get from the orange? What do we get from the orange? Vitamin C. Vitamin C. What planet is associated with vitamin C? Saturn, Capricorn. Keep that in mind. What does vitamin C do? It helps rid the body of free radicals. It's an antioxidant. Is that a clue? So file that back into your mental Rolodex. That might be something to pay attention to, because remember, Neptune deals with poison and sickness and infirmaries and hospitals. Okay. So they find out, because Dillinger hacks their code, Incom, and finds out that she has found the permanence code. So he creates another version of Master Control. Remember, now let me give you the big picture thing. Master Control is the main character, played by Jared Leto, and he looks like Caesar Borgia. Who is Caesar Borgia? The iconic picture that was used to be Jesus. This is why I titled the video Rise of Digital Jesus. So what they do, they created a story to emotionally lock us in, to pull for one side. That's the Hegelian dialectic. You must create a natural tension. And through that tension, you give birth to a Christ, the third piece of the triangle. And the weapon that they're using is a triangle when they're fighting within the grid. It's a triangle. So Master Control, which is the Jesus, starts to gain consciousness. And through his consciousness, he starts to become more humane. So they're pulling you in. You got to understand the play. The play is they've removed mentally the association with what the actual threat is. The actual threat is fake, false intelligence that is not connected to source. And they've shifted it to now you're saying that's not the problem. It's just that we hope it doesn't get in the wrong people's hands. Slick shit. Very slick. Very slick. Hegelian dialectic played out for you right there. Front and center. They shifted the narrative. The real narrative is that we are imbued with God intelligence. But no, they shifted it to where AI is cool. It's just, it can really be helpful for humanity if it's just in the right hands. Now, the movie is Tron Ares. What is Ares? Ares is the emergence and the initiation of a self through an identity. Through nomenclature. I have a name, I have an identity, I have a personage, I have a seed, I have a coding. That's Ares. Ares is ruled by Mars. Well, he becomes partnered with the supporting actress, and her name is Eve Kim. Now, Eve in Hebrew is Chava, and Chava has a value of 19. Pastor Philip Mitchell, his church is 2819. Now, you may think Jamal just be grasping for straws, but how is it these things just fall right here in the same pocket? Movie comes out right around the time my man, high level occultist, old Mitchell, 2819, boom. And when you reduce that, 28 is 10 and 10. That's a portal. And then we come back to the movie and we have the lovers have been brought together. Eve, Venus, Master Control, Mars, the lovers. Venus and Mars are together. Eve as in life, Chava. So life comes through the machine. It is the merging of life, natural life, with the machine. That was the goal of, that's why it's Aries, a new self, a new identity. Now, I said that in the US Sibley chart, those progressed T-squares, where do they release? In the first house. What sign do we associate with the first house? Aries. Everything is everything. Now, here's a twist. He gets in there, and some type of way they were able to get the source code to him. I'm trying to remember what he did. And then, so they have a black woman in there who goes by the name Athena. And what is Athena? I think Athena is the goddess of wisdom. Now, this is how they played this. She is just following the rules. And the rule is she must get this permanence code by any means necessary. So she then takes on part of the villain identity. So now what she represented was, in a sly way, the role of melanin, because everybody in there is in black. And then when they're trying to escape to get out of the grid, they're going through all this water. The water represents the blood. The blood is the place where all of this battle goes on. That is the interface. And the blood is ruled by Mars. The blood as a whole. Now the corpuscles and the different, that's Cancer. The lymph, that's Neptune. But if we just take the blood as a whole, that's Mars. So what they're showing is the interfacing, and you need the melanin to be a carrier. So they worked all of this. The melanin is a transducer. It is the interface between the worlds. So they incorporated that into it. Now, of course, you know, when they get in that, no, you wouldn't know, but in what he's trying to get to, I thought this was important. They're trying to get to the transfer portal for him to get out of the grid and to be reconstituted into the real world. And that's where he's going through all of it looks like water, but it has red all around it. So that's the blood. And you can almost argue that's Exodus. That is Moses parting the Red Sea, the Reed Sea, the blood. So what was the overall goal of this movie? The overall goal, again, was for us to become more acquainted with the idea of merging with something foreign. And that the real worry, the concern, is not relinquishing the fact that source interfaces through natural humanity. which would naturally cause an aversion to somebody putting something in me that is not of source, but more so to just be concerned that we don't have the wrong hands directing it. And all of this connects because transfer portal, and here we have Mitchell says, I want to open a portal. And we've been through what do they call that thing? That programming. I can't remember the name of it. Yes, Goddess of War too. What's the you know what? I was wrong. She's not the goddess of wisdom. She's a goddess of war, because Pallas Athena is intellectual warfare. So you're right. Thank you, Tony. She's the goddess of war, Athena. What do they call it? Predictive programming. And there's another term they use. But if you follow college football, you always hear about so-and-so has gone into the portal. And the portal is the new slang for when somebody's getting, like my man that played for the Eagles. What's his name? Jalen Hurts. He originally played for Alabama, and they did him dirty, and he went into the transfer portal and went to Oklahoma. So we were already all this. It's like everything has been contrived and everything has been thought out. Our lexicon we've been introduced, new words introduced into the lexicon, and we just start using them like it ain't. We speaking in Star Trek terms. Oh yeah, he went to the portal, transfer portal. And then here we have this movie that incorporates this language that we've been using for the past, I don't know, 6-7 years. And bam. Which lets us know that we are truly living in a movie script. So in a nutshell, I don't know exactly what's going on, but I know something is afoot, and something has to do with the old system has been turned off. And when this system, when it comes back online, the goal is for there to be a completely new identity and a new way of interfacing with this foreign consciousness. That seems to be obvious. And I think that all the things I've mentioned are part of it. Here you have this kid, Carlo Acutis, which then is another reference to Mars, because acute, sharp, pointed edge. Right? You have Charlie Kirk, who met his demise by an acute, sharp, pointed edge. Then you have this pastor who wants to plead the blood of Jesus, Mars, blood. The whole Eucharist thing that this Carlo Acutis, Eucharist is based on blood. Take, eat, this is my body. Drink, this is my blood. And if you really think it's necromancy, it's far worse than any voodoo ritual with some chicken blood. No, we want this. We want the blood of the dude himself. Drink it. Cannibalism, eat it. And we know it's an esoteric, but take it at face value though. And then we have dude down in Atlanta who says access. I want access to what? To your blood. And then the movie mentions the vitamin C, or it mentions oranges, which we know have vitamin C. And then what else did the permanence code. And they say in the thing that the guy Flynn says, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have called it the permanence code. It probably should have been the impermanence code. Which was they always give you a little nugget of wisdom. That was a little nugget, because the nugget is there is no permanence in an impermanent world. The only thing that is permanent is impermanence, change. Right now, those of us who have the spiritual, mental, emotional acumen must be able to be vessels of change, but not change by what someone else has defined that the proper way of changing is. I mean, change is being able to adapt and flow and understand the times that we're in and make the necessary adjustments. And some of our adjustments may be that we're getting very close to decision time, where you're gonna, that like the gulf between two paths is gonna be so wide that you too wide for you to straddle, that you're gonna have to choose, and that road gonna go like this. Right now the road's kind of like, and we all straddle to some degree, you know, but it's getting like this, and we're gonna have to choose. All of the amenities, all of the luxuries, all of the nice things that we've, been accustomed to, maybe some of it we might have to, it's a split. Me and my man Dap been saying this for years. It's between analog and digital. So that's what's going to be the choice. You stay on the grid. Just do this. Just let me put this in you. Let me tweak you a little bit. You don't need those books. Reading, schmeeding. That's for ancient times. You can be one with all the knowledge now. We can give you access to everything you want. If you come across any information online, print it out immediately. If you got a way to download content, download it immediately and put it on a hard drive, because they're going to come through. Zip. All it takes is a keystroke. Shit gone. Never existed. And this is the time that we were commissioned to reincarnate back here. Peace, that crazy. Lisa said, just got my digital voters registration card in the mail. We sitting out last night talking at the park. Some motherfucker coming up with a QR code. Can you mind signing our ballot so I can get on to something for? I said, man, I don't vote. You don't vote? I don't vote. Carry on. Write me down as another one of the statistics. Oh, they don't read. They don't. God, he doesn't vote. Oh, that's what's. Yeah, I'm the problem. What's wrong with the country? I don't vote. So there you go. Carry on. Now, and we're not talking about walking around here in no robes and no toga with sandals on. We're not being extremists, but we are having to entertain the idea of new ideas of community, new ideas of how to behave. Motherfuckers gonna have to learn how to behave. You gotta have your own constitution. There has to be a hierarchy based on what is necessary for the function of that little small group. Keyword small. Keyword small. The absolute value of things is that some of our great teachers have been telling us for years that the earth is moving into another reality. And sometimes people say things decades early, and it seems like it's just, oh God, we done heard that a million times. The earth is going into the fifth dimension, and we become numb to it because visionaries see things way early. And a lot of these people, they transition tired and worn out. Almost like Moses didn't get to go into the promised land. Like they were all, but they were early, but it didn't negate the fact that they were right and they were speaking some version of truth based on their own understanding at the time. And here we are seeing it play out. Like this is like, it's almost like we're in a time of biblical proportions. And the new priesthood is it's very hidden and cloaked, and the priesthood is involved. It contains people who are dealing with all types of human shit, you know, because that is part of the equation to try to divert you from your soul mission. Bag of ice, $2 yesterday, $3 today. Gas, $2.39 yesterday, $2.55 today. Why? Shit, we felt like it. You need gas, motherfucker, pay it. And that little shit like that is not really driven by the actual desire for money. It's driven by a calculated means of providing pressure. Because if you can keep putting pressure and pressure, especially when you're out here trying to fight this by yourself, it makes it harder to even be inclined towards the type of things we're discussing tonight. And that's the fight that we are in. If you incarnate in this time and you got your headlights on, or you got your headlight on, you got people who've been claiming that they're spiritual and awakened. Motherfuckers is trying to run a new hustle. Because they feeling the pressure. So they're going to try to sell you a model of this stuff. God damn, 460, man, I'd be riding on a scooter. 465. Damn, fucking tricycle. They are now trying to sell. This is the hustle. Can I peep the game? The hustle is this. We're going to try to get a hold of this stuff early and sell it so that we can just make sure that we can eat. Now, when people come into this stuff, it's all about righteousness and all this. Let a motherfucker's stomach start rumbling. See how righteous they are. What happened to the NFTs that people were saying everybody was going to become a billionaire off it? Yeah, you get you in and we're going to do a course on how to do NFTs, and that shit faded right out. You don't hear nothing else about it. Come and join my course on Bitcoin, shitcoin, Mitcoin. and I'm not like some people made some, but I'm saying I'm talking about the absolute value of things. The absolute value is part of what the movie was showing too is, it is thumbing their nose, knowing that we're always looking for a Jesus. Always looking for a Jesus. Now, the genius might have 55 rings in their nose and tattoos and head wrapped and whatever, and they may look completely different and look way out the box, but you're still looking for the same type of entity, a savior. So we got to be careful and very mindful about how we move, because vultures out here, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. And they look like everything. And spirit will show the necessary means for those who are authentic to be able to coalesce. But we got to be careful about romanticizing about this, and we find ourselves in communion with people who ain't vibrating at the same frequency you at. So I don't know exactly, but we do know we got too many hits right here. I'm gonna say this too. When I looked at the current sitting president's chart and the vice president, who is mad quiet. I don't know if he's somewhere shucking corn or, bootlegging moonshine or what, but he's really quiet. He has the same ascendant as the president. I think 29 of Leo. 29 of Leo. Is that by happenstance? And with all that energy pointing back to the identity, I don't know. There could be several things at play here. There might be he may be ascending to the so-called throne. I mean, so it's a lot of things that are going, but at the absolute value, each of us is figuring out how do we manage this on an individual level. Excuse me. And what people are seeing now is more of the infection that has been hiding in humanity coming to the surface, but you're also probably seeing more of your increasing. You may be seeing more of you think things and they appear. You have conversations and confirmation shows up. You ask and an answer shows up. And those are your gifts. Those are your consolation prizes to keep you moving. Those may be some of those things, because it is time to, I'm going to say this too, this for the record. And I know none of y'all this applies. If you are in any church right now, anybody's religious venue, period, feeding you organized religion, you are retarded. You understand? I'm just going, and I know not none of y'all, right? Because this would be, you be up too late to make it to church in the morning, but you are retarded, because we don't have time for baby steps anymore. It's either, motherfucker, you either get on to the advanced classes or you just find you a bottle of milk to go and drink. Like there's no time. There is no time for remedial learning. Because what's happening, like we say, that thing is real about, like Delbert Blair, the earth is moving into the fifth dimension. Well, it is. But guess what? There will still be another earth that remains. So in other words, it's almost like, I don't even know how to even, like, you can be in a whole different world and other people be in a whole different other. We already got it. You just, you talk to certain people like, this motherfucker is we're in two different worlds. But what's happening is the door, I feel, is going to close to where the opportunity remains to move from that world into the next. And they'll still be existing. And so what we be seeing is a new wheel of samsara, where somebody might get, like, the door closed and somebody might get stuck for 1,000 years, toiling through until the next door opens back up. And you get a chance to move out. And I could be wrong, but that's just how in my mind, how I'm seeing this thing. And we'll have to stand by and just look at a lot of people, like, because you cannot afford to be trying to pull up somebody who only knows about pulling down. There's no room for liabilities. There's no room. Now, here's the deal. Now, my man Dap probably gonna be a little miffed with me because we not supposed to do this, because we're gonna come on here and do a presentation together. Part of what I'm doing and we're doing is the resistance. Is one of the ways is through art. That's one of the ways of resistance. Now, if I just had, I have a lot of juggling, I'm married, I got children, I got a business. I have another business restarting, and it's a lot of juggling. He sent me a series of beats in 2022, 3 years ago, that he had done these, and I'm just sitting listening. And when I listened, I said, I have the great fortune of having hundreds of beats to siphon through. But this particular block he sent me, when I heard him, I said, this is a project. And so I want to make an announcement tonight. And it ties into this conversation. And we will be back on here. I'll come back on here with him. And we're going to talk about this. We are releasing for the first time with us working together, a full album. And the album is called Dominance Hierarchy. Now, this was envisioned and created 3 years ago. And time just didn't work for it to happen. Of as far as I wrote the lyrics 3 years ago, and you don't know how many nights I just laid in the bed and put my earbuds in and just recite those lyrics and, imagining what it would sound like where, well, they've been recorded. And we're going to come on and explain the ethos behind the dominance hierarchy and how we're going to explain how we create. Now, understand how this fits into the context of the conversation. Divine intelligence, one of the greatest outlets for it is through the medium of art. Because art removes the constraints and the barriers around an energy that is chaotic in its inception. And it allows it to eke out in so many different ways, through the horn, through the drum, through the keyboard, through the bass guitar, through the singing, through the emceeing, through dancing, through fashion, through even something like astrology, through tarot, through palmistry, through, I mean, all of these are arts. This is art. Through writing, through prose, it's all art. And so this is part of our we don't even have to say resistance, because resistance creates a polarity. It's just our expression. And the expression does not resist, it engulfs. Whatever your creativity is, I'm calling on you to cultivate it. I'm calling on the people to be about mastery. Master at least one craft. Master that shit. Express. Let divine voice speak through artistic expression, through mastery. Right? Now, we're going to release this project on the winter solstice. That's the plan right now. And so we are asking for your support. We're asking you by first to put your energy behind it. Put your energy of anticipation. Put your energy of open-mindedness, and, never claim to be the greatest MC. But these words that were written in 22, but they are hitting for 2025 and to come. And it's not preachy. It ain't we got to build up our communities and love yourself. It ain't none of that shit. It's the full breath of hip hop. It reminds us that we are sentient, that we are the divine having a human experience. And we got something for those who love just pure MCing. But at the same time, there's stuff in there to stimulate you mentally, spiritually, and all that. So I just what I want to do. I don't normally do this. I want, if you are a person who enjoys hip hop, y'all help me out. It's a few people. Give me a 1 if you even enjoy, like, because I think a few of y'all might be kind of in my age category. Harmony and Home said, yes, I recently journaled about the high calling of my art. Indeed. Give me a 1 if you enjoy some of that 90s boom bap hip hop. And if we get some ones, then to the I'm gonna run the risk here of my man is, we got to come on here and we got to break this down, but I may have to break protocol this evening, and I may have to leak. We got a couple things. I may have to leak something, but I don't know. Y'all moving slow. I see 2 ones. Y'all ain't giving me much feedback. I don't know if I done put y'all to sleep out there. Let's see what's in the chat. Damn, my thing is froze. Am I still on? Taping from the radio. Okay, look, this is what we're gonna do. Rocky just said Auto Templo. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Now, like I said, we got something for the purists. For that crazy say I'm down for whatever. Let's see if we can. Okay, we got 10 songs on this album. We got a couple of them here that are mixed. Album is recorded. The rest of the album is being mixed. But we're going to, this is for those who love lyricism. This one right here. This one is called Fuzzy Lines. Well, let me hold on. You know what? We're going to play this one. I'm going to play this one. Those who, if you've been like God Science been around for a minute, he know I got another channel called The Gnosis. And I've been dropping on there since like I think I started The Gnosis in like 2017, 2016 or something like that. And so my man kind of did a shout out to because I met him through my other channel, my man Dap. So he created a beat title called The Gnosis Knows. And I went with it, and I went on and wrote this. So I'm going to share this. And like I say, man, it's my art. And we just see what's what. Under the utmost compression, subtle forces gather, linear time testing. Dormant for the elect, for others karma pressing. The law is impeccable, above it some professing. Foolish the mortal's lessons still seem as necessary. In what is he investing? Some in the status of an outdated atlas. Feet slip trying to scale a slope up an aspen. Aspiration for the asthmatic Adam Cadman. Arm, leg, arm, head, who's the captain? The ship or the vessel, the head where the feet trail. When the last breath is took, the way up is entrails. Heart versus feather, forever versus never. The Ein Sof, Mein Kauf, Shahad, stormy weather. Peace be still, every word as a shield. The arrow point sharp, so every syllable you feel. Visible to the visionaries, heard in every monastery.
flow like a tributary. The tried and true, the gnosis knows the commentary. Concomitant to the candle moss in February. The hero bows his back, although the road ahead is scary. The journey lingers, the wounds deeper. Transition from light bearer to light bringer. For everything under the sun, there's a season. For every cause, there is effect and a reason. Fine resin left behind from halal bleeding. Fresh manna, pure water, air and lungs breathing. Flesh tanner, sure order, stare at the heathen. No banner, quiet manner, this trip I'm leaving. Ascension, attention, cycle of the gleaning. No psilocybin, these sober bars you're reading. No simple babble, I beg your pardon, I'm cleaving. To the rock the temple was built upon an evening. Before the day broke and the word spoke, a thought approached. Ancient fire hidden in inner worlds and the opal brooch. And plain as tired wisdom enfolds like a gospel note. The Arkansas carry souls onward to a new abode. The darker night is where it shows the truth is that the gnosis knows. The darker night is where it shows the truth is that the gnosis knows. 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 All right, that's the Gnosis Knows. I'm gonna play you one more, and this one is for the true hip hop heads out there who love lyricism. This might be one of my favorite joints. This is Fuzzy Lines. You are listening to Think Music. Al-Aqdar, the king known as Aladdin. It's a sharp line between superb and mean. It gets fuzzy when the listener's ear ain't that keen. The creme de la is mixed with a lesser cream. Still his lexicon is focused like a laser beam. Pierce the forehead with the sting of a pinky ring. The bliss it bring when the angelic force is seen is like the subtle kiss of butterfly's wings. Knowledge reigns supreme, no time for genuflection. Get off your knees, God, in this cycle resurrection. Dissect these bars, paperclip every section. You gon' find when you rewind, yes, every time, that every word spit shine like a newly minted dime. Make the crowd stand up like a erect spine, or a proud Georgia pine that was winning on the mind. No, fuzzy line, yeah, the word divine. The left hand hold a quill pen dipped in black ink. The 16's a warm up after 48 I breathe. And I warn you, don't sleep, cause I got more under my sleeve. Even the mind of my notes in the 80s couldn't conceive. This young lad's words will one day make the world believe. No please or maybes, probablys could these. The true tales of a priest who rose some thieves. The ease with which he squeezed others and make cheese degrees. Higher than travelers could offer the people's pleas. For a serious MC, been answered the word complete. Convergent bees and virgin seas, lick pollen seeds, emerging G's, men God increase. The Marcus East, to calm the beast, arise like yeast in chords of E. The organ sings unordinary, the orbs on me, vocabulary exemplary. So pardon me, I'm parting seas, apart from these, a part of me. Divinity, the artistry is arson, see. It's suggested that you follow me, rather by plane, train, donkey, or feet. This particular genre recall meta rap, aggressively led by the word in Dap Dunlap. Think music, simply put the future's roadmap. Follow the man with a pitcher with water, and that's that. And that's that. And that's that. Yeah. And this is think music. When Dunlap cues it, the word voice infuse it. And this is think music. When Dunlap cues it, the word voice infuse it. This is think music. When Dunlap cues it, the word voice imbues it. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's it. That's what we're working on. We're kind of excited. It's been a long time cooking. I look forward to when we can get on here, me and my man Dap, and really talk about this thing and explain what this music is, how it came together, how we work, what this project is going to entail, and eventually just sit on here and have a little listening party. So that's going to summarize the proceedings for this evening. I thank y'all again for rocking with me, and we will be back to chop it up again. Until then, you know you can find me at 720astrology.com. I got things coming. New services being offered that will definitely help guide you in your journey. So stay tuned. But till then, for a host of readings, 720astrology.com. Know the stars to know yourself, and definitely stay down till you get up. And when you get up, stay down. Peace.